Well, guys, I'm back to reacting to another Monster Truck event, as I'm literally just doing this after I watched Monster Jam Atlanta 2000 Freestyle, as I'm still in the mood to watch more Monster Jam back then, especially since it was so short last time, as we're now about to watch Monster Jam San Antonio 2000 Racing. Now, San Antonio, I saw racing because my dad filmed it and all that, although it was way after it happened. Like, I didn't see it till like the summer of 2000, so this was a long time after the season was over and such. And we never saw freestyle on TV. I saw freestyle one time on YouTube back in 2011, but I do remember footage of, highlights and stuff of that. So we'll see that next time out. But right now, we're just doing racing, as I believe this was next in order. As here we go, as looking forward to this one.
Monster truck racing is like a roller coaster. Going downhill.
Highlights from Atlanta, as I just watched. And this is cool too because I've never seen this intro before. When my dad filmed it, or whenever it was filmed, it was after the intro started. So nostalgic.
Please keep your hands and legs inside the car. Motor Madness.
Alright, so
San Antonio.
we are getting ready to go for San Antonio Racing. And it's a lot louder, so me lower too. Alright. Looking forward to this. Racing is, once again, whoever uploaded the videos was incorrect. They said this was J-Hook. It's not J-Hook. This is U-Turn here in San Antonio. U-Turn is not the same as J-Hook. So get it for your heads, people. It's not the same thing. So we're going to see the exact same racing setup as we just saw in Atlanta. U-Turn. They start on one end, go down to the end of the stadium, turn around, go for the race lane, and then that's it.
Douglas are your tour guides. Gentlemen, the mics are...
Oh my gosh. That looked, you know, that looked almost so similar to Tom's Donut. Like, did he do a donut in Houston 2001? This is the first show? Now I'm really confused. It looked very familiar with the camera and all that. And also, I believe this was the first event I ever saw with, I think it was 10 trucks in here. So back then, of course, for everybody don't know, 10 trucks means there will be a fast loser from round 1 and round 2. So whoever loses round 1 and round 2 will be able to come back as a fast loser into the round 2 or semifinals.
And I've talked to everybody in the pitch today. They say it's going through the roof here in the Alamo Dome tonight.
Yeah, and I love this course.
And of course, you see good old classic, I think it was, no, it's not GMC King Crunch, I think it was Chevy King Crunch. GMC will be seen later on. And of course, seeing Andy Slicko in a rag here. We didn't see him freestyle in Orlando. There's Rod Nelson busting loose. And John Seasock, Sun Impact. First time we're seeing him in Monster Jam for the 2000 season. Very few events he competed in. And Scott Stevens in King Crunch, one of the few times we also got to see him this year as well, besides World Finals 1. And of course, Scott Hartsock. Gunslinger, so that's like, what, 5 trucks now? Jim, Jack, and Reptoid. And of course, still got to see more of the intro of the trucks. AC. Scott, Tom Menz, Dennis Anderson here, and of course, the debut of NWO. This was the debut of that truck, with, of course, Rob Nell driving. Of course, Nitro is here as well. Although I don't know if Nitro actually competed. I think it was too broken. But anyways, there's the field. It's going to start off with Sun Impact versus Nitro, NWO versus Eradicator, Goldberg versus Reptoid. That could be a big matchup. Tom Menz and Jim Jack, and the other half. Come on, show the other half already. Gunslinger and Bustin' Loose, and the big one, Dennis Anderson, Scott Stevens, to wrap up round 1. That's going to be a huge matchup between those two.
Number 1 is what's going on with Gravedigger in that number 7 truck. Is it
It's
really
unlucky.
7? We'll see tonight.
Well-known unlucky.
And they completely rebuilt it from the ground up.
Of course, showing highlights coming up, which I don't like.
They are thrashing on it every minute.
You remember our show from Atlanta? Oh, the Goldberg truck made a lot of noise, had a lot of people standing up. He is ready to go.
Yep, Tom is beginning of his dominant season.
But King Crunch and Scott Stevens, always a contender in the state of Texas.
You know, King Crunch has a lot of.
And of course, Scott Stevens been driving as long as Dennis, so he has very good compared to tonight. And of course, once again showing Nitro, as we already know about that. Let's see. Oh yeah, Cliff Thomas is now driving. I don't know why he alternated, but of course, here we go. This is Wells
I really
fearing.
do, and I hope to see Goldberg there too.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Nitro did not look well in the starting lineup. Steve Burns has more.
So it looks like, is it bad news? Tell us what happened. Well, I damn pulled out there and I dropped a valve in the motor. As you can see right there, there's a valve spring and everything hanging out in the motor. I just pulled it apart. I was supposed to go out first round, but now I can't. I dropped the valve spring in the motor. Tough break.
Yep, Nitro unfortunately is done for racing. Possibly done for the night. So anyways, we're going to start racing, and this is the first time ever I got to see a bye run. So John Seesock is going to go out there and just race on his own to move on to round 2.
We'll have a bye run. Basically, he's just got to keep it on the course.
Well, and you know, this is not like a NASCAR race where you get hot laps. This is a great advantage for him.
Yep, he gets to try it out the track and not have to worry about it as long as he doesn't screw up or anything. All right, here we go into turn for John. Nice and smooth.
Taking it nice and easy in this turn.
Here we go, up and over the jump. Nice air. There you go. Honestly, he probably got a little bit too big of a jump right there. That one tire didn't look good right there. He didn't need to really floor because he's going to go on no matter what. So you just drive it nice and smooth and all that. But he still did a solid pass for not putting much effort into it or not having to have any worry.
Everything else was to feel his way through that turn. We know how critical the U-turn is.
Hey, there you go. So John Seesock moving on to round 2 with no effort. All right, now here we go. Andy Slicko and Eradicator going up against Rob Nell and NWO. Of course, Rob would have the huge advantage here as we already saw him drive in Atlanta.
He thinks he's got a good chance.
And I think this is the only time, other than Orlando, I think we saw Eradicator this year.
Cooperative. I mean, they won't tell us anything.
Here we go. Eradicator and NWO. Smooth jump. Here we go into the turn, though. A very good turn for Rob, as he has the lead, but unfortunately, something happened to NWO. It got the win, though. NWO got the win, but broke.
Coming to the finish line, NWO breaks, so it looks like Eradicator will move on in this round.
Indeed, Eradicator is going to still be running. We're getting word from the U.S. Hot Rod officials that the input shaft, the transmission, actually broke. So that's bad news.
Yeah, I doubt they know it right then and there, of course. That's probably post-commentary and all that. But yeah, Rob now you saw was really good. He dominated Andy Slicko, but he broke, so he's most likely out.
Not exactly handling all that well.
Yeah, Andy, he had a good turn at first, but then afterwards it just died. He did not have a good finish there.
So how do you think you did tonight? You won.
Not a good turn, though.
Off a bit with my steering. It was bouncing pretty good on me.
I noticed you kind of steered a little off course there. What exactly happened at that point?
I got to lower the pressure in my shocks. It just bounced me off the course, and I couldn't bring it back in time, and I seen him coming around a turn, so I just gouged into it, and it sent me back over again.
How's the track feel tonight?
Pretty rough.
Pretty good?
Yeah, it's definitely...
Yeah, a lot of the drivers back then were not as good with the track back then. They were pretty tough to deal with. As you all remember, if you all remember in Orlando, when they did U-turn as well, man, they were struggling out there. So yeah, ugly racing so far with 2 breakages. Sun Impact and Eradicator moving on. As we wait for more racing results. As we got another solid race come up, Tom Mentz and Jim Jack. World Finals 1 trailer, let's go. Never gets old. Nostalgia as a 6-year-old looking forward to this event. Man, you all have, you youngins nowadays who didn't grow up in 2000 like I did, you all have absolutely no idea how hyped up I was for this event, for World Finals 1. I could not wait for this, and every bit of it was awesome and well worth the wait. And of course, remember, coming up soon, once I finish all the 2000 events, we still got quite a bit of the season to go, I will react to World Finals 1, and I am looking forward to it. It's going to be so good.
And you know, these fans here are really into it tonight.
Alright, here we go. Tom Mentz. We saw how well he did last time we debuted Goldberg in Atlanta. One racing was 3rd place in freestyle, but now he's got to go up against Jim Jack and Reptoid.
Racing for the team out of Atlanta, Georgia now, and Goldberg against Reptoid and Jim Jack out out in Milton, Florida.
All right, can't wait to see what you got.
His wife, Judy, are here this weekend in San Antonio and Rep Toys. I love the way this truck looks, but does he have enough power?
Here we go.
We saw a lot of horsepower.
Finally, a good view in this regard. Jim Jack hanging in there, but you're going to have a tough time against Tom in the turns, though. Tom went a little wide right there, but he's going to get the victory.
Well, there's a problem with Jim Jack, but I don't think that would have mattered. Goldberg, what a run. Man, is he strong.
And, of course, the flag already broke, it looked like. Jim Jack at first did keep up good momentum, but yeah, when you're turn, even when Tom struggled, he went really wide to turn, he still dominated. Like I said, all you drivers other than Scott Hartsock are going to have nothing but pain and misery when you go up against Tom. He is going to make you suffer because he's just that good back then.
5 seconds really doesn't matter at the end of the day because of this guy.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. Goldberg, absolutely strong. Remember in Atlanta, watch him on the turn and watch the horses coming out of it, and he gets there as he completes his run.
Just wild.
Let's go downstairs.
Tom, we talked to you earlier today. You said you wanted to keep that flag. So far, so good. Yeah, it went real good out there.
Even though the flag's about to break off, as you saw.
Drop the hammer on him. That's right.
All right, so now up.
All right, boy, the crowd loved that. Next run, ready to go now.
Scott Hartsock and Rod Nelson about to go at it.
Busted loose, Ron Nelson out of Conroe, Texas. And you can hear the fans for Ron in the background. They love him here.
Absolutely, home state guy. And I'll tell you, Rod Nelson busting loose another one of these tough Chevys. You gotta love the matchup though when he goes up against the big Ford.
This is gonna be. Can't wait to watch this. We saw Ron, of course, a few weeks later in New Orleans flip over early in racing, and we saw last time out in Atlanta, Scott Hartsock went one and done to Alan Pizzo in race. We'll see how he does here. All right, hanging in there, Ron Nelson is. Here we go into the turn where it matters. Ooh! Oh, they're close! But it is going to be Scott Hartsock with the victory, although Rod went off the side a little bit. Man, Rod Nelson was right there with Scott Hartsock, so I wonder if Scott struggled. Man, they were right there with each other.
Looked like Ronnie didn't do anything wrong on this one. He just got out horsepowered at the end. He's in good shape in the turn. Squares up great. I'll tell you, it's a nice run for the Bustin' Loose.
Yeah, the rear steer light gave away right there, which is not good.
But I'm going to tell you, Scott Hartsock had all the guns.
Yeah, Rod really put up a good fight right there, but in the end, Scott Hartsock was just too much. Even though he's right there, he did seem to struggle a little bit in the turn, but it still was a good turn.
Wow. He had them all going and gets some really nice air. Let's go back downstairs.
There we go.
Okay, Scott, now you won tonight, but you said you didn't quite like your run. Tell me about
Yeah,
that.
his run wasn't the
That's
best.
right, Jennifer. You know, we went down here. We had to kind of get the cobwebs worked out of it on that round. We went down there as fast as we can for the Wrench Head and TNN Motorsports crew. Got into that corner, and it was like the ground soft down in there, and it kind of just fishtailed around on me a little bit, and I was kind of like lost on bearings, and I looked up, and it was like, man, I got to hammer down, shower down on this old girl and put this Mega Power Ford gunslinger over them cars before busting loose. We did it, but, you know, we're not real happy with it. I think we can do a lot better. In fact, I know we can do a lot better. And, you know, all we can say is, you know, we're out here for Wrench Head, Pace Motorsports, SFX, you guys TNN Motorsports, so hey, we'll go one more round for sure, and hopefully we'll be out here cock-locked and ready to rock.
Ah, the classic saying. And of course, you gotta do a commercial before you show the final race of round one, of course. But it's a big one. Probably the biggest race of the night so far. Dennis Anderson versus Scott Stevens. Oh man, that's gonna be insane.
Who's next? Well, he hopes maybe Gravedigger is next. Gravedigger against King Crunch.
This is a big race.
A local favorite here. Scott Stevens out of Spring.
Two very old, classic, nostalgic trucks.
Troubles this season, but he's hoping to get his Chevy going here tonight.
One of the long-time veterans. He's one of the few guys that's actually been in his same basic truck with some changes, obviously, over the years, as this man, Dennis Anderson.
Yep, King Crunch has been around as long as Gravedigger, early 80s. They're like 20 years old almost at this point, and they're still around to this day. Very classic trucks. Here we go. This is a big matchup, people. The match of the night so far. And here we go, Gravedigger and King Crunch. Dennis had a terrible land. Scott Stevens might have the lead. Here we go. Into the turn. Both had very good turns. Here we go for a jump. And Scott Stevens is going to straight up beat Dennis. Huge jump for Dennis. And also, unfortunately, I think Dennis damaged Gravedigger on that landing too. What a race that was. Look at that. What a race. I told y'all that was a race tonight. But yeah, Dennis once again won and done. They really said that was an upset? Not really. Scott Stevens definitely could challenge Dennis. But yeah, you see Dennis had a little bit of trouble in the turn. But yeah, here's a bigger problem. Went off the side right there and ooh, that was not a good hit back then.
What a tough night for Dennis Anderson.
Dennis, tell us about that run in the first round. Tell you the truth, I'm kind of disgusted right now. Wasn't a good run for me. Probably looked wild, who knows.
He got big air off it too.
Kind of frustrated. We knew better, we just didn't do no better. I'll leave it at that. Dennis, if I could, it looked like he came down awful hard on the right front. Any damage to the truck? Yeah, we've got a shock leaking on the right front. The shock was replaced from last weekend from a crash that we done. I don't think the oil was the right level in the shock. The right side was a little weak when we went out there to start with. Then cramming it over on the right-hand side on the nose didn't do it any good. So we've blown a seal in one of the shocks. We're leaking oil there, and we've got an electrical problem with the truck also. We'll let you get back to work.
Like I said, guys, 2000, Dennis just had nothing but bad luck. Nothing, there was like almost nothing good out of the season except win in Minneapolis, winning last week in Atlanta, and of course World Finals 1. Oh, that's right, won freestyle in Jacksonville as well, but that was it. Everything else was just nothing but misery. But yeah, Scott Stevens straight up beat Dennis.
Tell us about the key to that victory.
It was really a rough ride. My head's hurting. It was bouncing around. The ramps are a lot steeper than they look. You know, our truck was just running strong, and I went in the corner, and it looked like Digger was right there with us, and I just kind of drove it as hard as I could. I didn't want to hit that finish line ramp that hard, but I knew that Digger was going to come on there at the end because, you know, Dennis, he's wild, you know, and I'm kind of calm compared to him. But, you know, our truck was running good, and it was our time, you know.
That was just a really dominant race.
Well, the man from Texas has won.
I don't know if he is or not. Scott Stevens also belongs in the Hall of Fame if he's not. Man, that was just nice seeing that race again. Alright, here we go. Back to Racing Classic World Finals 1 intro. Of course, showing the breakage. Yeah, we've already seen a lot of breakage tonight. We already have 3 breakage.
Now they got truck problems.
And how about King Crunch? Ooh. What an upset over Gravedigger. Gravedigger.
Again, I don't understand what their logic is. How was that an upset? Scott Stevens is good enough to beat Dennis. Why is that surprising people? Sorry, here we go. Scott Stevens gonna be facing Jim Jack and Reptoid, who was the fast loser. Oh no! Oh wait. Wait, so I think that means there's actually 2 fast losers.
He's coming back as NWO.
Yeah, Eradicator coming back. I didn't even see the rest of the bracket. Eradicator replacing NWO, who broke, going up against Tom Mentz and Goldberg. Oh boy. It sucks we couldn't have the rematch from the finals last time in Orlando, Atlanta. Right, here we go. Tom Mentz, Andy Slicko, there we go. Yeah, Tom is just dominating. No surprise here. Here we go into the turn. Oh, Andy had not that bad of a turn right there, but again, you can't beat Tom back then. He was just unstoppable as he got some huge air too off the racing lane. Man, you can't beat him. He's too good.
You know, Andy giving it a great run right here, and he loves San Antonio. It's the anniversary of his first USHRA race. He loves being.
He lost a lot of momentum, but I thought that was still not bad of a turn. And he hits the pole again just like he did in round 1. That's funny.
Hey, Andy, what happened with your truck here tonight?
I lost oil pressure on the last set of cars coming in when I came down and landed so hard. And I pulled the filter apart and there's nothing in it, so I got to drop the oil pan out of it to see if the pump didn't break off.
You think you'll be back?
It's going to be tough. It's about a 2.5-hour job, change pump.
Oof. So who knows? He might not be able to come back for freestyle.
Goldberg's run. Boy, the horsepower, the arm out the window, and some great air.
That was great air, but watch the air on the second jump.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, look at the big air he got, guys, off a little hill. People say it's impossible.
Hey,
full of shit once again.
Tom, I noticed you were pushing your truck back. What happened at the end?
Threw the blower belt off. We're going to use a blower, maybe it'll go a little faster.
Well, it's an incredible second round. You think you're going to win?
I don't know. I tell you what, it's a handful. If I can keep it going straight, I think I'll win because it's really fast. It's really a wild ride.
So how's the track?
Oh, the track's great, man. It's fast. We get some awesome air down there. Because the end comes up a little fast down there, but we'll get her load, I hope.
Just great racing action. All right, here we go. Scott Hartsock, gunslinger. I guess he's going to face Rod Nelson again.
It's going to be a rematch from the first round because Bustin' Loose does get back as one of the fast losers. If you'll remember, this was one of the best races of the first round.
Wait a minute. Now I just remembered.
Gunslinger barely edged
So
out
Reptoid and King Crunch, that means something happened to Sudden Impact, so John couldn't come back. Well then. So I guess Reptoid was another fast loser. Here we go, rematch from round one. Scott Hart's like, ooh, Scott had a little bit of a bad angle right there. Here we go into the turn. Can we get another insane match? Oh, they're still hanging in there. But in the end, it's still going to be Scott as, oh, Rod Nelson went off the side again. And he did not have a good jump right there. Penalty again. Like the rear steer like locked up on him in some of the other direction.
Great start. He's in good shape here, and he actually makes the turn in good shape. He's fairly even with Hartsock at this point. But all of a sudden, he cannot get it squared up for the final jump. He's off course and has no chance because Hartsock was
man. Just wait till next week, people, where we see a wild run. And I see they're towing like Goldberg back there by hand. Jeez. Don't think I've ever seen that before.
Nice job on swinging the truck out for the turn, squared up, and the Ford horsepower's flying in San Antonio.
Okay, now tell me, this is second round, you won. Did you feel better about this one than last time?
Yeah, I sure did. You could even probably see it in the performance, the way it went down there, you know. Still in that corner, it's real touchy down there. I mean, the truck's just fishtailing around that corner a little bit too much, and then it takes time for that rear steering to catch up with itself. But hey, you know, that's 2 rounds. Unfortunately for Bustin' Loose, that's 2 times we had to put him on the shelf. But hey, we're cocked, locked, ready to rock, and our sights are on the next one.
It just sucks he's gone.
Now the gunslinger.
Alright, here we go. Our last race of round 1. In round 2, Scott Stevens and Jim Jack about to go at it.
Capacity crowd here in San Antonio. Mike Hogwood, Scott Douglas, Steve Burns, Jennifer Goodwin with you. Don't forget Pick 6, richhead.com. Log on, vote for your...
Yeah, just talk how it works and all that, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for racing. So here you go. King Crunch and Reptoid. Scott Stevens, pretty big lead. Here we go into the turn. Oh my god, that turn Scott had. Just obliterated Jim Jack. Even slowed down because he knew he was going to win by such a blowout. Oh my gosh. But yeah, Scott Stevens, like I said, that good. I don't know why they were like dismissing him when he was facing Dennis. That was not an upset. That was very even. And by the way, guys, we're going to have another fast loser as well. Scott Stevens, Scott Hartsock, Tom Mentz, and someone else is coming back.
Tell us about your run. You got down to one end and couldn't get it turned around. What happened? Yeah, I got down there, did pretty good down the straightaway, and I hit that turn. I just couldn't make the turn. It really gave me a hard time there. But I really hate to lose that, you know, coming into this show. We're running for this point series, $100,000 deal, and I was in the lead, and I've been, you know, in the lead basically since this thing started. We're the 3rd week into it.
Yeah, guys, like I said, he did a really good showing in Houston, so that makes me wonder if the Houston show I was talking about was before this week. But the only Houston event I remember was like a week later with Indianapolis and Anaheim, which will be covered up very soon. And you did, and unfortunately you had like one of the worst times in World Finals history, unfortunately, which sucks.
I think he's got a shot to get there. So does this guy, Scott Stevens.
Yeah, Scott's coming up in the points when you consider he has beaten Gravedigger head-to-head and now Reptoid head-to-head. It's a great night in Texas for Scott Stevens.
Boy, the fans here love this run by Scott Stevens.
Yep.
Well, Scott, you knocked another one down. It's a good night so far.
Oh, yeah, you know, it's just so much fun. You know, our truck's working really well, and I can't say thanks to enough people at our shop that worked all week. Truck's working good.
Yeah, King Crunch, very good truck. That's why when Scott Stevens driving back then, he deserves nothing but be viewed as a threat. He can definitely beat anyone. I don't like, which is why I still just don't get why they think like him beating Dennis was an upset. It's not.
here in San Antonio.
And of course they showed Busted Loose, so I guess Ron's the fast loser? Even though he got a freaking penalty? World Finals 1 preview! Yay!
First time ever on pay-per-view. The Wretched.com Monster Jam.
Never gets old. Let's go.
Gravedigger and the 12 best U.S. hot rod monster trucks in history. Battle it out for the championship. It's your front row seat for the biggest night of monster truck mayhem ever. Monster Jam.
Oh, I can't wait to watch World Finals 1 again with you all. That's going to be so fun. But of course, we still got to get through all the 2000 events.
Coming up next week, we got
No! No preview of freestyle where I can avoid it. No. 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 No.
Problems. Bustin' Loose gets to come back.
Alright, so here we go. Big matchup for the semifinals. Scott Stevens and Scott Hartsock are going to go at it. And it'll be Ron Nelson once again coming back. And he's got to face Tom Meents. Oh, man, that's going to suck.
What you call a lucky loser, and I mean really lucky. He's
Yeah,
around for the
he got back to spiking a penalty in the last race. That's wild.
And he is on fire.
Well, he's been getting some great air, a lot of power. King Crunch has shown some horsepower as well. And from here in Texas, one of our wrenchhead.com storylines. And of course, there's Goldberg.
The other one is Goldberg. Look at him. He's just saying, who's next?
Poor old Ron Nelson got to go up against Tom.
Tonight is going to be busted loose. You saw those header pipes that we talked about with Steve Burns a few minutes ago. And Tom Meents is absolutely ready to go. There's Ron Nelson, wild man Ron Nelson, and busted loose. We'll see what he can do. He has not won tonight.
But he's still alive. You know, that's the main thing. He is in the semifinals by keeping that truck running and getting good runs in where he can.
Well, you hear that motor on Goldberg?
Here we go. Tom a little wobbly right there. Here we go into the turn, though. Absolutely just dominant turn. I feel bad for Ron having to face Tom. Like I said, you just can't beat Tom back then. He got a little bit of a hood damage, too, already. You just can't beat him.
Another great run, and as Tom's been saying,
You like it's almost like just being just like don't hurt me, Tom. Like you're not gonna beat him that easily. He's too good. Oh my gosh.
Let's go downstairs.
Hey man, it seems like
Tom once again in the finals. Tom's been in the finals the first 3 events of the season. That's insane.
Getting an awful lot of air. It's hitting a little hard out there, but all I can say is who's next?
who's the daddy?
And either way, whoever he faces, it's going to be a dogfight. The actual first threat he'll face tonight. Scott Stevens or Scott Hartsock.
Gunslinger and King Crunch coming up next on Monster Jam.
This is going to be a huge race.
Capacity crowd here in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome. Mike Hogwood, Scott Douglas, Steve Burns, Jennifer Goodwin with you. We're ready to go into the semifinals.
Well, another critical race to build up points for the Wrenchhead.com World Finals coming up on pay-per-view. And hey, remember, if you haven't ordered that pay-per-view, it's time to do it. Only $14.95. That's incredibly, what a deal for a pay-per-view.
Here we go. Big matchup, Scott Hartsock and Scott Stevens. Who will face Tom in the finals?
You know, sometimes happens you don't have 10 friends. Get 5 and it only costs $3, right?
Here we go. Big matchup. Open over that jump, and unfortunately something happened to King Crunch, and he's going to go into the wall as he broke, which sucks, as Scott Hartsock had a horrible turn, but Scott Hartsock is going to get the win. Scott got bailed out big time probably too. Oh, it sucks for Stevens, as he was so dominant, but let's see what happened there.
And it just something breaks. You can see the spark as he goes off course. U.S. Hot Rod officials shut him down by remote control.
Well, problems for Scott Stevens. Scott, it looked like part of your transfer.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, you know, we keep tuning it every round and probably put a little bit too much power in it that time. It ripped the rear end out of it, leaving the starting line. And once I hit the concrete, you know, it just kind of sped up. It slid so quick. And that's just racing. You know, we got a lot more races this year. And, you know, every night we're getting better and better. And I think, you know, King Crunch is going to be a real threat this whole year.
All right, put on a good show tonight.
Oh, we had fun.
Yeah, that happened a lot for Scott Stevens that year too. In the few times we saw him. Man, what a really unfortunate break. And I'm pretty sure he can't freestyle too when we see freestyle next week. Oh, that just sucks. He was just so dominant that night. He would have given Tom such a threat in racing, maybe to make Tom sweat. But hey, Here we go. The beginning. This is I think the first time in the finals Tom Meents and Scott Hartsock, that first booming rivalry of 2000 begins right here, but it wouldn't get its intensity, I feel, to Orlando.
A heavy load on my shoulders, knowing that I won this thing last year, so I had to come in here being a defending champion and go like gangbusters. I can't say enough for this Mega Power Ford gunslinger for spitting bullets and getting down the track like it's supposed to.
To be fair though, Scott, you did kind of get bailed out first King Crunch break in.
Brought us in here to do our job. You know, we're kind of like the gunslinger of the crowd. That's exactly what we are. If it means we got to go up against a wrestling truck, so be it. You know, this ain't no rigged race in here, you know.
The finals. Big matchup. Tom Meents and Scott Hartsock, the beginning of their arch rivalry.
Ford versus the Chevy power of Goldberg. You always love that. This is going to be a wide open, wild affair.
We'll have the finals for you here on RichHead.com. Monster Jam coming up in just a moment. TNN's Motor Madness rolling on.
Big rivalry.
The crown a winner in San Antone.
The big rivalry. Here we go. For the finals.
Well, we like
Yeah, it's
to
just very unfortunate what happened to this King Crunch.
Monster Jam, and tonight there's no doubt what it was, King Crunch.
Absolutely. After running so brilliantly
Just
the first
awful.
2 rounds, huge win over Gravedigger, then knocking off Reptoid. It was all over for King Crunch on that semifinal run.
Oh god, that looks horrible.
Not a good night.
Yeah, I think unfortunately King Crunch is done for a night. That's the whole. I think it was a dry shaft loop. Oh, it looked bad.
The finals as all of these trucks
Ugh.
trying to get to Las
Just
Vegas
very
and get
unfortunate.
points. You get points for winning here in the head-to-head competition. You get points for winning the freestyle as well.
Absolutely.
So here we go. The finals. The first time I think Tom Meents and Scott Hartsock faced each other. This huge rivalry of 2000 is about to get started.
That Ford-powered gunslinger and Scott Hartsock. What a matchup.
I think the crowd's pretty evenly divided as to who they want to win here.
This is a big, big race. The only person pretty much that year that would make Tom actually sweat facing him.
You see the 2 trucks are staged. Gunslinger.
Tom's made the finals all 3 times. Lost to Todd Frolic, beat Rob Nell last time out, and now he's got to face Scott Hartsock. Here we go, the finals, Goldberg and Gunslinger.
That'll be the story here in this final run.
Off the side a little bit for Scott, as he's being dominated right now, but here we go into the turn. Really good, Scott did not have a good turn, and of course Tom dominated. Like I said, Tom was very difficult to beat, even for other really good drivers, as Scott just pretty much got obliterated.
He has not been beaten in an individual race yet, and Gunslinger gives him a good.
And yeah, that's right, Tom was. Wait, no, he wasn't undefeated. That's right, because he lost to Todd Frolic, remember? So he did have a loss. So I don't know. So Scott Douglas is wrong.
Gunslinger just nowhere near enough to stay up with the hottest man on the circuit.
Well, it's tough to compete with this horsepower.
Like I said, Tom is just too damn good.
Goldberg truck, a winner in San Antonio.
Tom, I tell you what, you are staking your claim to go to Las Vegas March 26th for the RichHead.com.
Probably, it's unfortunate that race was really disappointing for such firepower that race was going to have, but just didn't happen, unfortunately.
Them all the way to Las Vegas and then finishing it there. Can you imagine that pay-per-view March 26th in Las Vegas? Oh, I'm telling you, ain't nobody more excited about me. I'm going to let it all hang out. But I ain't stopping here. 2 runs, 2 wins. We're tough. I hear you. Now let's go over to Jennifer with her buddy Scott.
Now, I gotta tell you, Scott, that was an amazing run at the end. You put up a great fight, but how do you feel you did?
Well, you know, me and Tom flipped a coin. We figured had to pick different lanes than I've been in. Well, I got over in that right lane, and I mean, it just wasn't my lane by all means. The truck spun over that first hill and couldn't make up ground. So, yeah, when I come up across that finish line, I still wasn't done. So I figured I'd give these San Antonio folks a couple of donuts, and I just got that big old Motor Madness number down there, a letter, and I figured I'd just donut right on top of that big M.
All right, let's take a look at our monster truck points. As we
see dominant Reptoid is in the point stands for racing.
You can vote also on RichHead.com for the pick 6, but it's Goldberg out in front. Gunslinger gained some ground this week after our San Antonio head-to-head. We've got freestyle next week.
Here's the overall. See, Tom took over.
Now you combine the freestyle points in, and you can see Goldberg even has a better lead. Reptoid continuing to be strong. Digger's in there despite his problems this year, but Gunslinger is the man on the bubble. He is 6th. As of right now, he'd be in Vegas.
And our congratulations to Goldberg, winner here in San Antonio. King Crunch, one of our storylines.
But yeah.
Texas native, had a good night going until that semifinal run where he got off course a bit, broke apart. The story
This
was
is very unfortunate for
Goldberg,
King
good
Crunch.
winner here tonight. That'll do it from here in the booth. For Scott Douglas, I'm Mike Hogwood. Let's get a final
All
word
right.
now.
So that was Monster Jam San Antonio 2000 racing. Good job on Tom Menz, he just dominated all night and got the easy victories. So next up will be freestyle, which I only got to saw one time 13 years ago, and I cannot wait to watch it again. So see you all next time for Monster Jam San Antonio 2000 freestyle.